everyone. Welcome to the second episode of Not Enough Spoons for Mondays. I'm Brittany.
And I'm Neva.
And we're here to have a morning coffee together and chat about probably who knows what, really. We just kind of let the conversation flow and we'll see where it goes. Anyway, how was your weekend, Neva? Did you do anything this weekend? Anything exciting? I actually had a busy weekend. So, at least, here we are.
I didn't really do anything. My brother was gone over all weekend because he went on his Washington D.C. trip, so that's fun. And Ari had like a weird cold thing all weekend.
Oh, it's that time of year where the kids are just constantly like one illness after the other. I swear.
Which I'm kind of glad that she had it now since they're on spring break. So at least, I mean, we don't really do anything for spring break. Okay, she's 7, so we're not like going to Maui or anything. So at least this way she was able to kind of like have it and like recover from it before she goes back to school, because it's definitely a thing if she can't go to school.
Yeah, she loves school, which is, I think I would rather a kid who loves school than a kid who doesn't want to go to school, because I had the opposite.
Yeah.
With mine, is that because of bullying, he hated to go to school, which is fair.
That of course
makes sense.
Yeah. And then
it's hard when your kid doesn't want to go to school. Again, we've dealt with that, so that's not a problem anymore. But
yeah. And then the only other thing is that I did receive my second Kindle. So yeah, we have a Buddy Read library art Kindle, and we have like an everything else Kindle. I just thought that was like the easiest way to do it. Really. So I'm just waiting. I got all the stickers and stuff for it, but I'm just waiting for a few more accessories. And then yeah, there's footage of me unboxing it in a KU clean out that's coming out, because I didn't know where else to put like the footage, but I didn't want to make like a whole video on its own of me just unboxing. I guess I could have made it a reel, but like,
no, but this is actually a thing, is whenever I'm doing something, if I'm doing an exclusive reading vlog, sometimes those lifestyle content things don't really make sense to put in there, because like our Fourth Wing vlogs, which we're currently in the middle of, just throwing in like a weird day-to-day task doesn't necessarily make sense in a binging a series vlog. So then I'm like, but I'm doing this fun thing. Where do I put it? Like, where does it go? Like, this is a struggle, friends. Truly. And this is one of the reasons that I'm getting more into doing TikTok, because at least then I can just do like a short thing for things that don't have a place elsewhere, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because like I tried to like bolster it a little bit by recording, like I'll put music over the top of it because it's like me singing to myself while I do it. But I recorded like footage of me laying the stickers out and like doing sticker refreshes on them, because I was like, at least then like it ties in the Kindle unboxing. Like it doesn't just look like a random Kindle unboxing. But I didn't know where really to put the footage. But we do have 2 Kindles now, which honestly, this is kind of a godsend. At first I was like, this feels like overconsumption to me. No, like it felt like overkill. The way I justified it is like, you can read more than one physical book, right? Yep. And it's the same with like a Kindle, because I was always finding myself trying to like pigeonhole myself into reading one Kindle book at a time.
Yes.
And with the nature of how content is made, that's not always possible.
It's never possible.
But I don't like switching between Kindle books. It makes the reading experience very clunky.
Yes, I agree. And for me, it's not even that. I like to have the covers. My Kindle is out of reach, so I can't reach it. But I like having the covers on the front of my Kindles. And if I start switching between, books on my Kindle, The Witch is Dead. I got excited by that. Neva just held up The Witch is Dead for those who are just listening. So, which is our current buddy read. That's a sidetrack. Anyway, I like to have the covers on the Kindles, because if it's not the cover face up, the book is out of sight, out of mind, and I almost forget that I am reading it, which happens a lot with audiobook only books, where I'm like, oh, right, I'm reading it because it's not sitting in my currently reading stack on my coffee table like all the other physical books. So if I have a Kindle that has the cover on it in the stack, I'm not going to forget that book. If it's just off in the ether, I'm never going to remember that. Like my brain, my memory is not that good. And I'm
Well,
reading books at a time.
an object permanence is a thing, and I don't have it. Like
No.
once you like I've said this before, but like even to the point of like Ari will leave to go to school. I will know she's left to go
Mm-hmm,
to school, right?
mm-hmm,
And hours will go by. It'll be like noon. She's been at school since 8 a.m., right?
mm-hmm.
And I'll be like, something is missing.
Yes.
And I'll realize that what I think is missing is that Ari is not in the house. But because Ari is out of sight, out of mind, she's in a place that
She's
theoretically
safe. You know she's
is
safe,
safe.
right?
Then my brain is at ease, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm not thinking about it. So then when I do think about it, I'm like, oh wait, what's going on? And I'm the same way. I actually made it so that I have a widget of Audible and a widget of Libby on my phone.
That's so smart.
Because then when I open my phone up, and I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it on the camera, but when I open my phone up,
You have
they
the
sit at the
you
top.
can see them. Yes.
So technically, this is like my home screen with my habit tracker.
Mm-hmm.
But this screen has all of like my games and stuff on it, like my apps. So I just have them sitting up at the top. And I'm not reading Beyond Self Care Potato Chips, y'all. I already read that. But when I finished Fourth Wing, it
Mm-hmm.
like I
It
don't know.
auto populated to
Yeah,
like
I
that.
don't know how to turn that off, so it, like, auto played a new book, and I was like, "What is happening?"
I think the
Um,
only way to do that with Audible is not have anything downloaded. Like if it's not downloaded
I
onto
think
your
yeah,
phone,
and
it
I'm not
won't.
gonna
Like,
do all that.
why would I do
But
that?
yeah,
Exactly.
so but that way I can see exactly what I'm reading, Libby audio, and exactly what I'm reading if I have an audio going, and that's kind of combat that not being able to put it in my stack thing.
Yes.
Because while some of the audiobooks that I do have physically as well, so I can put those in a stack, and then I just remember that I'm reading them on Audible or
Mm-hmm.
audio wise.
Yep.
Not all of them have that option.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I will completely forget. But I also enjoy having the covers on. Like, obviously, I do own this book. Okay, I own them all. But Lauren Asher, I was talking to Kelsey about this the other day. Lauren Asher, for some reason, her books are printed in a really weird shape.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And I don't enjoy to hold them until you get I mean, now at 130 pages in, it's like an enjoyable holding
Yes.
experience, but in like the first 100 pages, it's not. So I did
Mhm.
download it off Kindle Unlimited just so that I could read it on my Kindle. I don't want to buy it again. Like I like them fine, but I don't need to have them in every format since I've already read
Yeah.
them.
Mhm.
But yeah, I like having my covers as well because again, then I can kind of just add them to the book stack.
Exactly.
And when I grab the Kindle, I can be like, "Oh no, this wasn't the book I wanted to read right now."
Mhm.
You know? So,
I will say what you were saying about Ari being at school. I've done this with my son many a time where he will be like at his dad's or something, and I will walk by his bedroom knowing, like, I know he's not here. Like, I have
yeah.
knowledge that he is not here, but I will walk by the open door. I have a teenager. The door is always closed. If he's in his room, the door is closed. He's a teenager. Okay. Um, and I walk by the open bedroom door and I'll like do a double take of like, where's Matt? Like, I'll be like, where is he? Like, I don't even know where he is in this house. And then I'll remember that he's not in this house. And I knew that. But like for that split second, my brain will be like, why is the door open? You know what I mean? Like, where
Right.
is he? Is he outside? Like just immediately, even though full well, like consciously, I knew he wasn't,
You know. Yeah.
like, but your instinct or your reflex, I guess, is to be like, that's different because your brain has just how it's almost the same part of your brain that like when you drive and you forget how you've gotten somewhere even though full well you were conscious, like you were
You were
able
conscious, yeah.
safely. You were driving perfectly safely. If someone would have pulled out in front of you, you would have stopped. But your part of your brain was in like autopilot, and the other part was like not. So
Yeah.
like you're like, what? Or you'll make the wrong turn when you know you were supposed to go the other way because you're going to Sobeys, but like you instantly like went to someplace you go more often. You know what I mean? Like your brain just does weird things like that all the time.
And I think people don't get it unless they get it. Because I've said this to other like people that are like more neurotypical than I am. I'm not neurotypical at all. I'm very neurodivergent.
Neither of us are.
And they'll be like, that doesn't happen to me. And I'm like, okay, well, it does happen to me. Okay. Like I will like honestly, I'll forget that I even own things. Like if they're not in front of my face, I'll forget that I own them. Like there's a reason that I have all my books cataloged on my phone is literally because then when I go somewhere and I see a book and I'm like, oh, I need this book. To be honest with you, I downloaded the wrong book in that Billionaires romance series that you read. I thought The Heir was the first book, and then I realized when I got home and I looked at my Kindle that The Spare is the first book. In my head, though, it made more sense for it to be The Heir, The Spare.
Oh yeah,
you know, in my head.
Yeah.
But so I brought The Heir home, and I remember I sent you a picture of it.
Yes.
That caption that I wrote underneath where I was like, they didn't have any of the other ones. They didn't. But I legitimately thought that was the first book. But I felt stupid when I got home. So I sent you the picture after I got home. And that's why I was like, they didn't have any of the other ones, but I grabbed this one.
Right.
Because I was like, I don't want to. I mean, now I'm telling the whole internet and you. But like at the time, I was like, dude, this Spare was the first one. Because I actually put it on my shelf as like a book to get to in 2025.
Yes.
Thinking it was the first book. It's still on there.
You'll be able to get to both because they're very fast. I read them in like a week, honestly.
But I do have the Spare on Kindle Unlimited for KU Clean Out. But I was like, oh no, I need to go download The Heir because The Heir is the first one. And then I was like, no, girl, you had the first one correct downloaded. So
you did. I cannot wait for the next one to come out. Like I am dying for that book.
I need to catch up so that we can buddy read the third one together.
That would be so fun. You have until May, so there's time. Like it's not out till like mid-May.
Okay, great. Plenty of time.
Plenty of time. I mean, I read both of them in February, so like they read very quickly, and they have audios, which is great.
I just love that we find all these books that are like that we just like devour, like the Whitsex series. I feel like the Whitsex series was where we started just like
we did
drinking books.
It's true. I feel like Dark Oz we would have done the same thing with had we not just been so busy.
Oh, absolutely. I think if we had time in January, the whole series would have been read.
We would have read all 3 books in January. I mean, we're still reading them very close together. For anyone, I did mention this when she held it up, is that we are currently reading The Witch is Dead, which is the second book in the Dark Oz series, which we read in January. We're obsessed with. I now own physical copies of these books because I am so obsessed with this series. So we're finally into book 2 and reading it so quickly. I read like 140 pages of this like on Sunday. Like I opened it and I messaged Eve and I was like, I may have read a lot.
I have been averaging 25 pages a day, but it's not for lack of wanting to read it. It's literally because I have to read other things. So, and they don't have audiobooks.
This is the biggest problem is they don't have audiobooks and we have my currently reading stack is out of control. Honestly.
We're not even going to talk about it. Mine's so bad.
It's so bad. I'm glad this isn't the week where we do currently reading because truly I don't need to put that into the ether. It's bad.
Mine is so bad. And listen, I just want to shout out to my Patreons for sticking around with 0 content being provided. I have to shout them out because like I haven't lost a Patreon in like 60 days or whatever. And like, that's great. And like, I mean, I appreciate it truly. Y'all have content coming next week because I'm currently the vlog I was trying to work on last week, it just fell through. It just didn't really work out the way I wanted it to.
This happens with vlogs. Is that
don't necessarily work. I have a realistic reading week coming out, which is it's very interesting to see how much I read, even with Ari home, if I have audiobooks.
I will say last week, well, as last week. Last week from them watching it, it was 2 days ago for me living it currently.
Right.
You put out these like really nice what I read this week graphics on
Yeah.
Instagram, and I was obsessed with those. I was
Yeah.
like, I love these. These are fabulous.
I've been just keeping track like in my planner.
Mhm.
So I have like my weekly planner page, and then I have a second planner page. Maybe I'll share it to Instagram, or at least just share it with you. But I have a second planner page where I keep track of any audiobook minutes and hours really. I convert the minutes into hours. And then any pages read. And
Mhm.
that's how I made the graphic. Was I was able to populate all of last week's, which is why I put in the caption like what week it was.
Yeah.
Which I may just start sticking that on the front of the graphic because that makes more sense to me. And then what books I read, what I started, what I finished, all of that. Because it's really interesting to see like how much I actually read, especially if I have audiobooks, even with Ari at the house for a week.
Yeah.
I'm still reading a lot. And I just think I think because I read for enjoyment, I don't realize how much I'm reading.
Mhm.
And this year I've been really intentional about reading for enjoyment and then making the content around what I'm actually reading as opposed to reading around content that I think needs to be made.
Mhm.
And like Kelsey and I had a buddy read that was supposed to go till Saturday. We both finished the book at the time of recording this yesterday, which would have been a Tuesday. And we were supposed to, when she did the breakdown, it was going to get us from Sunday to Saturday.
Right.
So I was like, all right, cool. But then I was like, well, I have audio, so I'll stick to our pages every day because you don't have audio. Well, then she messaged me and was like, hey, I finished it. And I was like, all right, cool, because I only have like an hour left. I only have like an hour and a half left of the audiobook, and I wanted to just finish it.
Yes.
And it is the second I do talk about it. I'll talk about it in my Patreon vlog. I have a Realmathon vlog going, but it's gonna be a month long. So you'll see it. I'll talk about it on the main channel at the end of the month. Like you'll see
Yeah.
at the end of the month. But we've read the second Lila Sage book, and we both gave it 5 stars.
I knew that Kelsey was reading this. I didn't realize it was a buddy read with you, but that makes sense since we all
Yeah.
buddy read the first book. So I should have
Because Kelsey,
together,
I
but
was willing
I didn't.
I was willing to continue the series. I gave the first one 3.5, and I was willing to continue the series because I wanted to see if I hadn't liked the second book, I would have been done because it's
Yeah.
supposed to be at least 4 books.
Yeah.
And I would have been done because if I didn't like the second couple,
Yes.
if I didn't like their story, there
You're
was
not gonna
no
like the
going
third,
back
right.
for me
Yeah.
because I really enjoyed the second couple's dynamic in the first book.
That's the
little bit that
brother
we
that's
saw.
right bossy, right? Or is he the brother that's building the cabins?
It's the brothers building the cabins in the second book.
Oh, it's like golden retriever.
It's him and the
Okay.
interior designer.
Okay. Okay.
So cute. And like the anxiety rep was done so well. I will say Kelsey and I were both very skeptical because it looked like it was going to be like a one night stand kind of book. And we were like, oh no.
You're like, that does not work.
But it's not like there is like a romance that blossoms. I mean, it's a romance book, but that doesn't always mean that like, you know.
No, yeah.
It worked out. The third book is going to be Teddy and the grumpy brother. The ones that seem to hate each other in real life.
Yeah, I
And
wasn't sure if that was book 2 or book 3 because
I
mean, it was kind of obvious which books were coming in.
Yeah, I love an enemies to lovers trope. And then we do figure out who the fourth book is. We were skeptical of who the fourth book was until we read the second book. And I don't want to ruin it for anybody that wants to read this because the 2 couples I just mentioned, they're mentioned in the first book.
Very like in the synopsis
Obviously.
of the first book. Like it's very obvious.
But
like
you get about
family members through each book. Like
we get halfway through the second book before we know who the fourth couple
that's a bit
is.
spoilery. Yeah.
And I mean, I'm excited for it. You know what I'm saying? I was a little because I gave the first book 3.5, but I do think that I like Lila Sage's writing style better. than like Elsie Silver, and I think that's why I was like on board with continuing her series. And I will read the third one. Me, Rainey, and Kelsey are supposed to read the third one together, so
Oh,
I think that'll
nice.
be fun.
We
Um,
have I have well determined that I just need to walk away from cowboy romance. Like I need to
that's fair.
it's just not it is not a subgenre or trope or whatever it is of romance that I like. So I'm just going to leave it for those who love it, and that's what I'm going to do. I
And
feel like this year is the year of my billionaire romance. Like I feel like I need to I feel like that's where I'm at, to be honest, is like this is the year of billionaire romance for me. And I'm not mad at that because even the dark romances, well, okay, mafia romance / billionaire romance, which I do feel like a lot of times a lot of the same tropes are in both of those. Like there's some definite like overlappingness
I
in
think it's
mafia and billionaire romances.
I
So
think it's because a lot of mafia people are also rich.
yes.
So you can kind of mix the two together and it doesn't seem weird.
Also, they treat, I feel like not all the time, but I feel like because one is rich and one is like mafia and in control, they still treat like in the mafia world, they treat their women like queens, you know, like even though they're killing everybody else, they treat their women like queens. And billionaires do the same thing. So I feel like how they treat their like female love interests are of like the same level, if that makes sense. So like near the end of last year, I was reading a lot of mafia romance, especially in the fantasy romance subgenre, but like with a mafia romance vibe. And this year, the only romances I have liked, well, other than Out of the Woods, I have not had good track record with romance this year. Like it's been hard, except for those billionaire romances I picked up. And
Girl,
I did like Out of the Woods. So that one is a side note. Although Caleb is rich, so like maybe
could be
things.
billionaire. Here's the thing, I have found that I don't I want to read romantasy, but I'm not in like a really every time I pick up anything that's like harder than I don't want to say harder, that's the wrong word, but like deeper, I guess, than
Yes.
like YA fantasy or like very romantasy based fantasy,
Mhm.
I don't want to read it.
You want vibey romantasy right now. That's what you want. You
Yeah,
want vibe.
because I started when the moon hatched and I had to put it down. Now here
Oh,
is
that's fair. That
here's
yeah.
my caveat. Okay, the first 15 pages of that book are glossary and pronunciation. I have the audiobook on hold because I'm going to need the audiobook.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do own it on my Kindle. I do own it physically. I read the prologue in the first chapter and I was like, my brain is not smart enough for this right now. I do think that once I get into it, I will love it. And I did pre-order the second book already. Why? I don't it's fine. But I think that once I have the audiobook from the library, which
Yes.
it says like 12 weeks, that's fine.
That's fair.
I have time to wait. I think that I will enjoy this book. I just have realized that I need like all vibes. Like I need and not even no plot. Like I want plot too, but I need it to
Vibes.
vibe.
You need it to vibe.
I
Mhm.
need to not have to think too like too much, too hard.
That's fair. That's totally fair. I will say I would recommend immersion reading When the Moon Hatched to anyone because it is there's a lot happening in that book and I think immersion reading's the way to go. But that was one of the only books I mean it was my best book of the year last year,
Right.
so fair. But I called 5 stars at the prologue when they were explaining the elements and how the elements and the gods of the elements worked together. I went 5 stars. Like I don't know what else this book could give me, but like right from that I was 5-star energy and adored it. Do you know what's funny? We went on a tangent. I don't even know where we've gone, but we haven't done what I did this weekend yet. we,
Listen, we skirted. It's fine. What did you do this weekend, Brittany?
we went right around. And you know what? I love it. And the only reason I remembered is I went to look at my notes to see what's left and went, wait a minute, because I wrote down what I did this weekend and went, oh, we haven't talked about any of that.
What did you do this weekend,
Thank
Britt?
you. It doesn't really matter. I went shopping. This was a big shopping weekend for me. So I'm in the middle of redecorating, which is very exciting. And I'm redecorating my bedroom. And I needed a new stand to put the TV on because right now it doesn't have a stand and it needed a stand. And I really wanted the stand because, like, in a bedroom space, you only have so much space. And I wanted to have something that could kind of do multiple things and like hold clothes and things while also like be a TV stand. So I was thinking a TV stand that had like, cabinet fronts that I could hide stuff away. I couldn't find anything that I liked that looked that way, which was unfortunate. Like I was really trying and because I didn't want something super big, but what I did end up buying is super big. So now I'm like rearranging my whole room to make it fit because I couldn't find anything that I liked that was like a small cabinet that you could put the TV on that would be high enough to see from the bed. Like that, again, there's a lot of things. So I ended up just buying a whole new dresser, which was not the plan, but is what I did. And so now I had to move my desk. So yesterday the dresser arrived. I moved my desk to like one side of the room and realized the desk fits there, but only if there isn't a chair, which makes the desk useless. Because I could put the chair in front of it, but you couldn't move it out to like sit in it. Like it was not, because it would like back up to the bed. Do you know what I mean? Like it was too close to the bed. It didn't work. It was not functional. So then I moved it to the other side because I have like a cutout nook in my room that I can put like the desk in, which is where the walking pad was, because I need to leave the walking pad out or I will not use it. Like I understand that some people pull it out every day. I will not do that.
Jess Massey pulls hers out every day. You know how I know? Because she makes like reels, which kudos to y'all that make these like day in the life reels. I tried to make one yesterday and I wanted to throw my camera out the window.
I've been doing this for TikTok. And honestly, I said this to my boyfriend last night, was like, it's actually just as much work to make short form because I'm still vlogging all day long. But actually, it's more work because I have to edit an entire day down to like a minute.
To
Where
a
the
minute.
long form,
Oh, I gave up. I
vlog,
delete
do my
you.
thing. Like,
You only know that this exists because I just mentioned it because I deleted the footage.
it's so much harder. Like, I don't understand
I was
why.
like, I might as well have just made a day in the life. I am thinking about doing that one. You know, the one that's like where it's vlogging like you're on FaceTime?
Yep.
I think when the kids go back to school next week, I'm going to do one of those. And just see.
Yes. I
I
like that.
interrupted you. I'm so sorry. But no, the people that listen, the people that take their walking pads out every day, kudos to you. Once we move upstairs, once Ari and I move upstairs, which will be later in the summer, we're not moving home, we're just
No.
moving rooms. I'm going to get a walking pad that just lives underneath or next to my desk because there will be room. But that way, the most that I have to do is move it to under the desk if I want to be able to stand, like to walk
Yes.
and work or something.
Yes.
But it will always be sitting out because I don't know how well it would work to have a walking pad like under the desk with the chair. I don't think that would work very well.
No, you have to like move it.
But at least if it's sitting like where I can see the stupid thing, I'm not gonna be able to put it like in a closet. I'll forget it exists.
Well, I think going back to our conversation about object permanence is like if we are starting to stash that thing away, we forget we own it. But also, secondly, the thing is, I don't really like to work out. Okay. I don't enjoy it. I'm not one of those people that has joy from working out. I do it because I'm in a weight loss journey and we can talk about that at some point elsewhere. I haven't talked about that on BookTube at all, but of why that started and all that stuff. But, not really even a weight loss journey, it's just like a healthier life journey would be the correct way of doing it. So I've been trying to get more steps in, do all these things. But because I don't really enjoy walking and I don't, not walking, like I'm fine to like walk around the house, but you know what I mean? Like just walking where you're not going anywhere, walking for no purpose, just to walk or to work out. And I don't enjoy it. The added like effort to pull it out and set it up is the thing that will make me not do it. It's just that one step further that means I won't do it. So anyway, I moved that to like behind the desk, but so that it was like the same. So, like the desk is going vertically. That is also, it's not like under the desk, but it's like vertical to the desk. so that I could put it under the desk if I wanted to, or I could just leave it where it was. But it's too close to the wall. So I tried to walk on it yesterday and I was like bumping into the wall. Like it was much too close to the wall. So I was like, okay, that needs to move. But like I literally do not know where it's going to go. It may need to go under the bed and just be pulled out like as needed, which I could do. But again, will I? I don't know. I don't know.
Wait, so you work downstairs, right?
I do work downstairs. Well, I do and I don't. It depends on what time of day I'm working. If I'm working during the day, I work downstairs. If I'm working at night, I work in my room.
So do you think I mean, an idea, I don't know obviously what your house looks like. So I don't know how much like room you have.
We should do someday, you and I should just do like a house tour because I feel like we talk about things a lot and we have
Right.
no, like I can't envision it because I've never seen it, but we talk
Right.
about like not for the public, just for you and
Well,
I.
for
To,
you
like,
and I, yeah. I mean, we could definitely do like
we'll do like
a
we'll just do a FaceTime.
FaceTime or something.
Why have we never FaceTimed? Like this is something that we
Because
should
we don't have each other's numbers in real life, which I feel like is blasphemous.
saying this aloud. Yeah, last week on the morning show, we just talked about how long we've been friends. And now we're saying, but also we could FaceTime on Instagram, but like I also could just give you my number.
Well,
like
we could just give each other because, like, okay, like I have Rainy's phone number, but I feel like the only reason I have it is because
you went to her house.
we had to coordinate like flights and stuff.
Yes.
And I feel like that's the only reason because it literally was like hours before I was supposed to get on the plane that Rainy was like, "Oh, I just realized we don't have each other's phone numbers." I also think that because we live in a social media age, we just don't think about it.
No, because I talk to no one with my actual phone. I talk to everyone through apps.
Yeah, and but I also think that this is gonna sound really weird. I think, but you might understand what I'm saying. I don't know if anybody listening to this will understand. I also think that when you cross into giving friends your phone number, whether
Yes.
those are like real life friends, because actually I have a friend who I have her phone number, but we never like she lives here in my town. Like I went to high school with her, but we never communicate with our phone numbers. We have each other's phone numbers, but we always send things through Snapchat or we always send things through Facebook Messenger. So like I literally just bought her a bunch of like stickers and pop sockets and stuff for her Kindle because her husband bought her a Kindle for their anniversary. So I was like, well, I'll get you accessories when I buy mine. No big deal. I have like coupon codes and all that. And I messaged her on Facebook and was like, hey, the stickers came.
Now that you say that, I had an entire conversation with my cousin the other day on Instagram, like an entire conversation. And I'm like, we are cousins. We have each other's number. We are family.
I think it feels more ride or die when you talk to somebody through your phone as opposed to through an app.
That's it, right? When we get off here, we're doing number exchanges. It's our friendship is leveling up in front of all of the morning show. This is what
people are going to be like, this is awesome. You guys just see milestones as they happen. But yeah, but I actually thought about this the other day because Ari was like, can we FaceTime Auntie Brittany? And I was like, I don't have her number.
Do you know what joy I would have if Ari FaceTimed me? Like the joy that I would.
And that's the thing is Ari would be like, can I call my Auntie Brittany? And then I would be like, okay, well, like, let me text her first so that at least she knows it's you calling. Because when people just randomly call me, I will answer the phone, but it will take me about 15 seconds because I'll just stare at the phone and be like, why are you calling me?
Even my own mother, I'm like, can you please just text me first? Like, I don't know what it is about the phone that like gives me anxiety about it.
I think
it just does.
I think it's because we grew up with house phones.
I think so too.
And you never knew you had to actually pick up the phone. I feel like millennials, we had to actually pick up the phone to know who was on the other side of it. So now we're already anxious from the state of the world. And we're like, the one thing we don't need is random people coming to my house and random phone calls. I don't need it.
I was talking to mom about this. I feel like when we were shopping, because mom came shopping with me and we did more than just the dress shopping. We went clothes shopping. We went book shopping. Like we went all over town. Do you know what I mean? Like when
Yeah.
you're going to go shopping, you might as well just hit like all the
You might as
places.
well do all of it at once. Like, don't
Right.
lollygag.
No.
Absolutely.
So we went to the library. Like we did all the things that I needed to do for like hours. We were out. Anyway, we were chatting about this in the car because I think it came up on the radio of like something about somebody stopping in. Does that make sense? Like that they just showed
Yeah.
up. And I was like, I grew up in the city. I live in the city. I am not I'm a city girl. And in the city, people don't just like typically drop in. Like that's not a commonplace thing. So it's not something that I've really ever lived through, except at my grandparents' house, because they'd have like friends that they've had for years that would like drop in when I was a kid.
Right.
Like for me personally, that is no, you text me first. You tell me you're coming. You do not just show up here. Like, do not. I need to prepare myself. Again, social anxiety. I need to be prepared for your arrival. You cannot just show up. So I said this to mom and I was like, I am not the kind of person that could just have somebody just like show up. But I was like, you are, because she's like extroverted, you know, like super extrovert. I'm like, and also she grew up in the country. So like she is used to that. And she was like, no, I don't think so now that I've lived in the city, but I wouldn't mind if people stopped by. And I went, what is the difference? And
Okay, so
they just stopped by. And I was like, no, people can't just stop by. They need to text me first, like drop in, stop by. Those are the same thing. And she was trying to explain to me the difference. And I feel like you somehow understand the difference. So
no, I understand.
Me, but I went, Mom, those
Okay.
are the same thing.
So, okay, so a drop in would be like, okay, so I'm from the country. Like I live in a very
That I'm
rural.
going to send this to her later and be like, Neva understood what you meant.
I live in a very rural place. And
Right.
for the first 12 years of my life, I did not. I lived in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
A city. Yeah.
Now, my grandma also lived in like close enough to us that she could just drop in. She would just show up. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Fine. And my whole life we lived with family, like when I lived there, because like in the city, like for people that have never lived in a city, it's much more expensive. So we always had roommates or grandparents that lived with us. Okay. Then when I was like 11 or 12 years old, I was in like 6th grade. We moved to Iowa, where I've lived most of my life, except for the 10 years that I left. And then, well, I found my way back home. You know what I'm saying? So Iowa is very rural. People just drop in. Okay. Now, none of my friends do this. Okay. No one that I would like, people I consider like my family do this, but people that I consider like my friends, like my friend group, none of them do this. Like, we're all anxious little people. Okay.
Right.
We're all very anxious. We're not trying to do that to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
We're making plans and then being like, oh, at this time, exactly. Okay, cool. I'll meet you at XYZ at this time.
Thank you.
But my whole life, my family, my mom's friends, they would just drop in. The difference between a drop in and a stop by
is it the length at which you stay?
It is also your intent in coming.
Your intent.
A drop in is like, oh, I was thinking about you, so I dropped in. I'm
So
just
you thought it, but you were at home.
Yeah, I'm here to just hang out. A stop by would be like, oh, I was on your side of town and realized that you were 5 minutes from the grocery store that I already needed to go to. So I thought that I would stop in and say hello, see how you are. But usually that person has something else that they're trying to do in the day.
Right.
A drop in is like a hangout. Like you're here
for a while
to hang out, to like watch TV with me, to craft, to eat my food. A stop by is like, hey, I had to run to Walmart, but I had to pass your house on the way. I saw your driveway, so I thought I would stop in and say hello.
Okay. So like a stop in,
it's usually long enough to like say hello, give hugs, and then be like, I hope you're doing well. I just haven't seen you in a while. It basically it's like an in-person FaceTime. Like you just want to see their face. It's like a wellness check. You just want to see, put your eyeballs on the person. Okay. But a drop in means like we're hanging out. Like if someone just dropped into my house, I'd be like, "Hi, were we scheduled to do something today? No. Did I forget to write something down? Our craft day is supposed to be Friday, Janice, not today." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I need scheduled drop-ins. Like, I'm all
Sure.
for, like, if you want to come to my house and like craft with me or like watch some 90 Day Fiance, cool.
Yes.
But we need to schedule.
That needs to be in
that.
the planner. Exactly. That's how I feel about both things. I can't just have somebody just like show up. That's
But
not.
that is the difference. So you can tell your mom that I understand what she means.
I will. I will tell her that.
But country people get it. That's what happens in the country.
She's from the country. She grew up in the country where like everybody just like showed up.
And here's the thing.
Like
I also live in an area where Ari's teacher this year for Halloween sent us an email with her address. Okay, you don't do that in the city. And it was like, "Hey, we don't get a lot of trick-or-treaters, so if you want to bring your kids out here to trick-or-treat, you can." I mean, I took her out there to trick-or-treat because
yes, that's so nice of her.
whatever. But I was like, an Indiana teacher would never.
No, like it's, and I think maybe that's why. And also social anxiety. Like I don't think I could do it even if I lived in the country. Maybe I could because I'd be used to it.
Ari's second grade teacher is younger than we are. She graduated in 2016.
She's infantile. Not really.
She graduated high school.
In 2016? No, that's not possible.
No, she graduated. No, I'm just kidding. She graduated college in 2016, I think. Because that would be
my child was 8 when she graduated.
She graduated high school in 2012. Because I'm pretty sure her bio, you know, they send out like a bio every year or whatever. Her bio says that she didn't graduate. I'm just kidding, guys. She didn't graduate high school in 2016. She graduated college in 2016.
You know,
and I was like, "You graduated college in 2016? And you're a millennial." And then she was like, well, and then her mom lived like next door to her, like 2 houses down.
Yes.
Small town. And she was like, "If you want, she's like, if you want to go down to my mom's house, she's 2 doors down." She's like, "Go down." I was like, "Okay." So I asked Ari, I said, "Do you know your teacher's mom?" I'm not gonna say her teacher's name on the internet.
No, I
know your teacher's mom. And she was like, "Oh yeah, she's come to our class before." So I was like, "Okay, well, I have
come to our class before." I love that.
So
I love that so much. Okay, this has been one of those chatty shows, which is what this is supposed to be, truly. But we still have about 15 minutes. We're not going to get to nearly what is all on our list to chat about. It'll roll over into next week. That's totally fine. I feel like this conversation has been fun, though, honestly. But we are going to do what we're currently watching this week on the TV shows. So currently, Traitors ended last week. So I finally saw the end of Traitors. This is for those, everyone knows, I have been championing the Traitors for years and years and years. I love the Traitors, especially the Traitors UK. I've always said Traitors UK is better than Traitors US. And this season of Traitors US was potentially the worst season of Traitors I've ever watched. Actually, not potentially. It is the worst season of Traitors I ever watched. Not because I like how it ended. Don't get me wrong. I do like how it ended. But I feel like the Traitors themselves were like the worst traitors. And if the traitors aren't good, the whole show kind of falls apart at the jump because they were really unwilling to work together. They just bickered the whole time. And anytime the Faithfuls caught a traitor, it was because the other traitors threw them in front of a moving bus. Like it was not because the Faithfuls were paying any bit of attention. It was because the traitors went, "Here, have this one. We don't like this one. We're arguing with this one. Here, you can have this one. You can have this one." And it was just like so not good. So like for those, if this was the first season of the Traitors you've ever watched, and I've seen so many people online saying like, "Oh, I don't like how the game is actually played," and all this stuff, don't go off this season. Like don't. Go watch the UK Traitors. Please go watch the UK Traitors with the regular people, not the celebrities. Go watch with the regular people, because the regular people, first of all, you have really good traitors and you have some really good faithfuls. And then you will also see people who were clearly not meant to play a game like this, where they start to lose the plot and they start to mentally disintegrate in front of your eyes every episode. Because the thing is, as much as we watch it week to week, they film it in like a 10-day span. So every day they vote somebody out and there's a murder, like a fake murder of someone getting like taken out by the traitors. So they're losing 2 people a day. It's very fast and very aggressively paced. So like some people just are not able to handle it. I know that they go through like some psychological testing before they go into it because it's so like aggressive in its way. But trust me. So that ended. So now I'm not watching any more Traitors. But all my other shows, because it's now like spring season, have started, except for Sister Wives. Do we know when Sister Wives is coming back? Because like, what is taking them so bloody long?
You told me, and I don't remember.
We'll have to look
Because
into
I
that.
remember we looked. Oh,
I feel like we looked like February though, and it's not back yet. We'll have to look into that, not on stream. So I am Survivor started, which I am a big watcher of Survivor. I've seen every season of Survivor. I love Survivor. So I have Survivor that I'm currently watching. I've only seen 1 episode. No, 2 episodes. I've seen 2 episodes. And another one airs, I think tonight. Yeah, tonight. And I'm also watching 911, which have you watched the new episodes of 911 yet?
Not yet, but I've seen Julie's been sharing them in her story, sharing about it in her stories. So I need to go catch up and watch it.
I'm going to speak blasphemy, but I'm not liking it either. I'm not liking it either. I do not like the Eddie storyline that is currently playing out. And really the only storylines, everybody else, like you barely saw any of Han or Cap or any of them. Like it's all Eddie and Buck. And I don't like their storyline right now. Buck is being like, he's like reverted back to the man child that he originally was. And I'm like, we've grown. We've grown from
come
here,
on.
Buck. Like, what is happening? And I don't like the Eddie storyline with his son being gone and all that stuff. Like, I'm just, which that's not spoilers. That happened.
Yeah, that's been happening. Yeah.
That happened a long time ago. But we're just like playing it out for ages. And I'm just like, I'm not enjoying it either. And
I will say shows like this though, when they run for too long, because yes. I found this, and I'm not caught up on this show, but I found this also with people talking about Grey's Anatomy, where like after when the pandemic episode started, people were like, I can't with the show anymore.
Yeah, I still watch every episode of Grey's Anatomy, although I haven't seen the spring episode yet. I'm like 2 episodes behind, 1, 2. Something like that. I need to watch those. I'm just so committed at this point. Like I've invested so much time.
That's where I'm at too. I will finish them. I will get to a point where I'm watching them weekly.
Yeah, I always do. And I've just invested so much time into Grey's Anatomy that like, even though but here's the thing, like the later seasons, I don't feel like they're bad. They're nowhere near the quality of the original seasons. They're not. Like they're in comparison, yes, they're bad. But like, do I enjoy watching it every week? Yeah, I usually have like an okay time. Although sometimes I'm like, if you do something to this couple, I'm going to come through this TV and snatch you. The one thing I'm sad that they stopped doing is Station 11. Or Station 11, is that the one that was the spinoff of Grey's Anatomy? Yes.
Yeah, because it had what was his name? Ben?
Yeah, I liked Station 11 a lot more than the later episodes of Grey's Anatomy. So sad they decided to end that, to be honest. That made me
I think sad. For me, I think the reason I like Station 11 better is because we had someone who technically Ben was not an OG. Technically, he was added later to the show, but he was involved with an OG. He was married to Bailey. So like I think that's why. Because I feel like once we started getting a new influx of interns, that's when I was like, okay, because we had our OG interns, right? So like Meredith and her posse.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got another influx of interns, which was like
Hefner, Avery. They're all good though, because they almost feel OG,
right? But I feel like the way the seasons ran, that second batch of interns felt like you said, they felt like OG interns because it was so quick. Because like their turnabout, what like the interns were only not interns for a couple of years before we got a new batch of interns. But
Yes,
it feels
they
like every time we get another batch of interns, I like them less.
Yes, it's
They
true.
just feel more entitled to me the more interns that we get.
I feel like the last set of interns I liked was Joe.
Yes.
Like what I can't none of her intern year is still there, but except her. But I feel like
But her intern year, yeah.
her intern year and like their storylines as they unfolded, like going
Because
forward.
truthfully, I
Really
never
good
even really
character.
expected all of the interns to stay
No,
at the one hospital because that would be unrealistic.
100%.
You'd have so many nurses and doctors and surgeons. Like, it
42
makes
surgeons
sense
walking
that
around.
that a lot of them would leave to find jobs elsewhere after their internship.
Yeah.
Like that is realistic to the thing.
Yeah. I think that's my favorite, my last favorite. Like those are the ones that I still love, those characters when they show up for like, you know, when they pop up. Although I did like Levi, which I guess would be the next set of interns, but like
Yeah,
still.
but there's always one or two that you like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you watched anything else?
I don't think so. I think that's all I'm currently watching, although I could be forgetting something very possible. I did watch You've Got Mail last week because I'm reading 2 You've Got Mail books. So I
Yeah,
felt like that was necessary. Like I felt like that should, you know, if you're reading 2 books that are inspired by You've Got Mail, you have to
such
by
a
law.
classic.
It's classic. And it's one of my cozy movies. Like it's one of those ones that I've watched 20, 30 times. Like I have watched it so many times, so I know exactly what, like I could play the whole movie out of my mind if I wanted to, you know what I mean? Like I know exactly what's happening, but it's just like a cozy hug when you watch it, you know?
Absolutely.
And I think I'm going to be watching it again because Katie on the live show said that she had never seen it, and I was like, well, we need to. I know,
What?
I know. So Julie, Aoife, and Katie and I are going to have like a like a watch along.
Listen, let me know when this is because I might join
It's
for
just gonna
this.
be like us behind the scenes. Like it's not gonna
That's
be
fine.
live.
I
It's
might
gonna be
join
like
you for
us
this. Let
watching
me
the
know.
movie. Yes, it's gonna be. I think we're just gonna like do a Discord watch because I have it on like where I can stream it.
Yeah.
So I'll just stream it to everybody and we can just like watch it. You know what I mean?
Let me know when this is because I
I
want to
will.
watch. Okay.
We're trying to find a time. It's hard to find a time that works for four
For
now 5 different
everybody.
people.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, my schedule's pretty good. So like just tell me when to be there. I'll be there.
Yeah.
But
What are you watching?
we just this week the season finale of Bailin' Out Loud was this week, so that's over. This is a
I was gonna say, what is
show.
this?
This is a TLC show. It follows Bailin Dupree, which if you don't know who she is, she's a TikToker who has Tourette's, and she documents her Tourette's journey on TikTok. That's how it started, and then she got like her own show and like oh my god. Anyway, this week was the season finale, so I don't feel like this is spoilers because it's all over the place, and she did already announce this. It just was under wraps as to what had actually happened, but we got to see her and Colin get engaged. Which we'd only been waiting all season for, you know what I mean? So yes, we love it. I love them. So I finished that. And I cried throughout the whole last episode because you know me, I'm a certified crybaby.
We both are cry. We cry at anything. A
I don't
swift wind can make either of us cry. So
I don't know these people, okay, but I love to see their joy. So there's that, and then murder. What is that song called? Show, not song show. What is it? Murdered by Fame. Death by
oh,
Fame.
you talked about this when we were doing the pilot season. I
Yeah,
remember.
Death by Fame came back. I think we got our final episode of that season because usually they run 6 episodes per season. And I like that show because it's all celebrity deaths.
Yeah.
But some of the celebrities you never heard about. So
Right.
like the very first one that they ever did was Christina Grimmie, which if you didn't follow
From
like The Voice or
Mhm.
you didn't know about what happened to her, you wouldn't know who she is. but I knew who she was. And I think they did it that way because then their celebrities have become more and more obscure the
Mhm.
more that they go. So I think they did it to hook people, which is cool because like you get to learn about like people you've never heard of or whatever.
I think it's nice actually with shows like that to have a mix. Like, I think if it was
Yeah,
all people I hadn't heard of, that would lose me. But I think if it's all people that I already knew the
already
story
knew
of,
about. I'd be like,
that
okay,
would also lose me. Like, I
okay,
think
cool.
you need the mix. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I did watch Love is Blind. That also had its season finale. And I'll say this, my favorite couple, they get married, they're still married, and I'm so happy for that. We finally got ourselves like a decent couple out of a season, thank God. Because I was like, we're never gonna have another like good couple after Lauren and Cam, and we finally got one, which is Taylor and Daniel, and I love them so much. I could not remember his name for a second. I like
You're like, wait a
blanked
minute.
him. But we watched that and that was so fun. I have like a little group chat with a few friends and we like were it's like me, Nell, Rainey, and Katie. It got started for something else, but now it's just become like our reality TV dump.
Yeah.
And so Nell and I were like messaging the group chat in like real time as we were watching it. So that was fun. And then the only other thing I've really watched is the Gabby Petito documentary that's on Netflix. I did watch that, and I'm gonna tell you this. There was nothing really in it that I didn't already know.
Right. I feel
But
like that's also been like super well
yeah,
publicized.
but
That's
if you don't know any, like if you've been living under a rock, which is possible, and you don't know anything about the Gabby Petito case and you decide to go in like cold turkey to watch this, please don't do that. Like, please do some outside research first for trigger warnings and stuff
Mhm.
because it is a DV case that ends in, you know, an unaliving.
Mhm.
So just please be like conscientious of that when you go in to watch. Like I said, there was nothing in this. Like, I've been really immersed in this case. So there was nothing in this that I didn't already know. A
Yeah.
lot of people were like, oh my God, we didn't know about the letter. You definitely did if you were following the case.
Yeah.
But if you fell off the case or you weren't following it at all, then it would be shocking to you.
Mhm.
Um, but I think that's really it. I mean, other than like 90 Day Fiance, but I'm always watching that. So
Fair. That's just like a constant running in the
like
back.
those shows, they like you get like The Other Way ended and we got 90 Day Fiance immediately
Mhm.
after. So like those shows are always in rotation for me.
Yeah. Okay, with that, we've been chatting for an hour. I don't even know what we chatted about truly. Like we went all over the place
These are
today.
all brains, friends. Sometimes you just get how we would actually talk to each other in life.
I think those are the most fun episodes though, truly. Like, I think those are the most fun. Anyway, we will be back next week in theory. No, we will be back next week with more episodes of the morning show. Thank you so much for hanging out, friends, and we'll see you soon. Bye.